You're listening to Living Podcariously, bringing you real men's perspectives, unfiltered, unapologetic, and uncensored. Recorded live in the Living Podcariously studio in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Welcome to Living Podcariously. This is episode, what are we on, Tach 7?
Sounds right.
I think this is 7. Welcome to episode 7. Like always, my name is Adam. Thank you for listening. And sitting on the couch over to my left is my boy Tach.
What's up? I am Tach.
And we have a very special last-minute drop-by studio guest in studio with us this week. This is Miss Andrea Joy.
Hello there.
How are you?
I am fabulous.
For the listeners, that's my girlfriend. Yes.
Best girl to be.
She's heard me talk about her all these times, so I'm afraid of what she's going to bring up on air this week, Tach.
Hey, I'm your number one fan.
That's true. However, I had to do her 5-star review and rating today for her. She wouldn't do it. I had to go in and do it for her.
That's because mine was too dirty.
iTunes kept kicking hers back.
Yeah, and she also did some voiceover work for us, did she
sure
not?
did. Yeah, so if you listen to, if you like Living Podcariously, if you enjoy the content of this show, if you enjoy listening to me and Tach, I know there's at least one of you out there somewhere, listen to The Twisted 10. It launched, it's live out on iTunes, Stitcher, all those other podcast apps now. The Twisted 10 is a unique, it's another project that Tach and I work on together. It's a unique host-created top 10 list, and Andrea did our intro music for that, or our intro voiceover for that, and it sounded fantastic.
It did. I enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I tried telling her that Fiverr, where you can go and purchase, voiceovers for $5, we went on there and listened to some of the other female voiceovers that are on that website, and they're, for the female adult or middle-aged or whatever their category is, they're not that many. There's only a couple of them, and they're like, horrible. They're these horrible women. There's a ton of kids and there's a ton of like elderly women, but there's no like good, sexy sounding middle-aged women. I know it sounds weird because you think sexy voiceover.
Well, yeah,
for women.
I got one for Taint Funny. I did one for myself, and I got this Australian chick to do one.
I did for the intro for Living Podcariously. That guy I hired off of Fiverr as well. But that was months and months ago. I haven't hit him back up yet. But I told her, I said she should do some voiceover on there, make a little bit of money.
Right.
Works for me. I can be whatever kind of voice you want me to be.
Oh, well, I know you can.
You like what?
Well, where do you want me to be from? I could be from the South and be your Southern belle. I could be here on holiday from England.
God.
So what have you been up to, Tach? What's been going on in Tach's life lately?
Just working.
Yeah. Do your coworkers listen to this podcast?
I try to get them to
Living Podcariously, yeah.
Wait, which one are we at? No, I know that, but I'm trying to think. I tell them to. I don't know if they are or not.
So if we said you're looking for some more employment in this area, that wouldn't be that good of a thing to air for them to hear.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, most of them know that.
Okay.
I just applied for another position out at
where you work
Cape.
now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully, I'm actually cookie cut for that position, so looks good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for you. Andrea has a pretty cool job. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about it, where you work, or pimp out where.
Sure.
Do you?
Yeah,
Do
I
you?
have the best job
You
in the
want
entire
stalkers?
world. My job is a slumber party. I work at Brent Allen Salon and Day Spa in Cocoa. I do hair and nails and facials, everything except massage, because that's a whole other license.
Tach, I do facials too.
But color, haircuts, everything. My favorites, updos, and
She sent me a text one day.
I'm totally overdue for a haircut, just saying.
Go see her
I should bring it all in here and just do haircuts on air, right?
on the podcast. Hey, I'm game for that. Naked though. She sent me a text one day from work where she was staying a little late, hanging out with some of the girls in studio, and one of the guys that they have there he does like the crazy colors in the hair, like the really bizarre I don't know what you guys call the slang term. Jeremy said something about them the other day, like the psycho colors or wild color, vivid colors or something. He used some word to describe the colors that made sense. Well, she sent me a text the other day from work saying, I'm almost done all I'm doing is giving Jeremy a blowjob, then I'll be right there.
A Brazilian
blowjob. Well, it was Brazilian blowout.
Right.
That's a style of hair. Yeah.
Right.
smoothing treatment.
Is it wrong? I got a little aroused
Yeah,
when you said that.
smoothing treatment for a Brazilian blowout.
But it came through as blowjob. Her phone auto-corrected her to blowjob. So
I guess I used that word too much.
a little, yeah. Never too much, though. Ever.
Never, ever.
No. Well, I hope everything works out there for you. Hope you get that.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Tach, have you ever worked outside of the U.S.? I know you were in the military. Have you ever, been for a long deployment or anything that's been permanent outside continental U.S., even Hawaii?
Permanent?
Yeah. Maybe more than 6 months, let's say?
No. Well, see, when I was in the Navy, I was in submarines, and I was on more specifically Trident submarines, and we don't really go anywhere. So all we did was go out to a patrol area, circle around for about 70 to 90 days, roughly, and then come back, and that was about it.
That's what one of Andrea's friends just got back from doing. He just was in the process of retiring, and he just came back off of his last deployment doing exactly that.
Nice, less patrol.
Yeah, well, I don't remember what he said he did. Was it communications?
I don't know. I just heard a lot about the guys.
Yeah, I asked him.
They all shave their heads together, and I don't know. I get the girl info. I don't get what they actually do.
I used to, a lot of guys shave their head and stuff. I used to cut hair out at sea. It wasn't a real job. It was just few of us that actually cut hair. That's what we used to do. So I'm familiar.
But what happens on the submarine stays on the submarine. You don't talk about that.
Yeah. No, it's not that bad. It's basically I think I've said this before. It's basically a floating frat house out there with all guys.
Yep.
Now they have women on board, so.
Oh.
Really?
Don't tell my friend that.
Have you ever gone and stayed maybe on vacation or something outside the U.S.?
Well, yeah, growing up, I lived in Spain for a year. I lived in Greece. Actually, fun fact, my mom was military. She retired from Air Force, and so growing up, I lived all over the world. And but when I was a few months old, we moved to Greece, and we were there for 4 years. And then so my first language was actually Greek. And then as much as a 4-year-old can speak anyway. And then once we moved back to the States, then I learned English, and I don't remember any Greek now. Well, I do remember a couple of things, which is odd. I remember ohi, which is no.
Ohi?
Yeah. Helado, come here. Apparently I heard these things a lot. So, and carpoozy, which is watermelon. I don't know.
Carpoozy?
That's all you need to know.
That sounds like a drive-by from an Italian mafia. Hey, this is a carpoozy.
Car pussy.
Carpoozy. Oh, I like that better.
I just grew up in Oklahoma, so all I had to hear was suey, so the cows would come in.
But we also pulled in, when I was in the Navy, went to Puerto Rico a bunch of times. Well, twice. Pulled in here a few times.
Port Canaveral?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then...
did you stay in because I'm leaning towards the question a little bit because of something. Did you stay in Puerto Rico for any extended amount of time, or was it just
a few days or whatever, 5 or 6 days?
So no time, no shore leave, or?
No.
Oh.
And I did go to Scotland once when I was in the Navy.
Yeah,
but that was,
Scotland.
But that was rare. We don't normally do, so that was a rare special ops thing.
What do we have here?
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty bad. I'm not a voice guy, I'm just saying. Ron would reach through the mic and strangle me right now through his headphones.
He is right now. He's laughing at you.
Yep.
And he's also probably doing the accent now.
Yeah. He's like, this is what you should have done, fucker. Yeah, trust me.
It's awful.
So, what are you getting at, Adam?
Well, no, the reason I ask is I was never enlisted, but I did military contracting. I've talked about that a few times, and I had several trips to Central and South America, more really South America. And then, of course, the shitty part of the world, the desert. I did Afghanistan for 3 months, and I did Iraq for 2 years. I wanted to see if you had any travel experience to go down to South America. So you're a single guy, Tach. You're very obviously American looking. You're predominantly, you could potentially be, Irish or Scottish or something as well because of the hair color. But as soon as you open your mouth and start talking, it's very evident that you're an American. There's no question.
Right.
I just want to tell you, there is a place in this world where you can go out with the way you look, which is stereotypical American, the way you sound, again, stereotypical American.
Right.
and you will have to beat the girls off. And I'm talking nonstop 10s, 9s and 10s all
I
night
have
long.
to beat them off.
Yeah.
Too? Would that work for me too?
No, they would be super intimidated by you.
Aww.
Yeah.
I don't get
Nothing.
what you're saying.
So
Where is this land you speak of?
Bogota, Colombia. I spent a full year down there. It was, look, I had a good time. I didn't go down there like most Americans go down there to go after pussy. That wasn't my intention. I went down there for an experience, for a career, a career move.
Right.
To grow in fact, at the time I was married to Scarlett, and I brought her with me down to Colombia. So we lived together in Colombia. So I go to work first couple of days, and the guys down there are, learning who I am, a little bit about me, and they find out that I had brought my, wife at the time, or girlfriend at the time, with me to Colombia. And all of them didn't understand this. This did not compute to them. It wasn't a language barrier. It was a moral barrier. They didn't understand why a stereotypical American, brought a woman to Colombia with him. It's like bringing sand to the beach. Because all the other Americans down there that worked on this contract would go to Colombia, even if they had wives and families at home, just to have that fun time while they were down there.
Right.
To have their girlfriends on the side, to do all that stuff down there. So they couldn't understand why my motivation was different than all these other Americans. So my point is, Tach, it's only about $300 for a round trip ticket to Bogota out of Miami.
Okay.
So and I've got lots of friends down there. So I'm thinking about sending you on a field trip.
You gonna
now
send me
I
on a
know.
trip?
He can't go if he says he's going to Colombia. I know better.
Well, I already told you I was supposed to go see my buddy in Medellin.
Not
And
anymore. Not without me.
well, you could go with me. They would be super intimidated by you. You're very obviously not Colombian. You have
I'm not,
fair
really?
skin, red hair. Yeah, no, you would stand out like a sore thumb. Americans, though, are
Is
always
this kind of
taller.
like the Philippines too? The Philippines also, from what I hear, Americans are just
Yeah, I can't tell you that. I don't know. I've never been to the Philippines before, but is it the same way?
That's what I hear. I don't know. There's a lot of like the joke about like, because you have submarines and then you also have surface navy, which is two totally different navies.
Is surface navy also called Air Force?
No.
Oh.
It's just like those that are on the surface, like on boats and aircraft carrier, not boats, but ships, aircraft carriers, destroyers, things like that, which is a totally different navy than submarines, And we always the joke is, all these like surface navy guys all have like Filipino wives. Like a lot of them do.
Really?
It's pretty funny. Just because they go over to the Philippines and they meet some chick, who wants to get out of the Philippines.
Is that
or
like
whatever.
Army in Thailand? Like Thai wives?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just kind of funny. But submarine guys, we don't. Well, we didn't.
You didn't?
Because we didn't go anywhere.
You just had boyfriends in the sub. Is that
Boyfriends in the sub.
Don't
What?
talk about what happens on the sub.
Yeah, got it. Understood. No, I wanted to, hey, I was open to the idea. So I do have a bunch of friends that live down there. And before I met Andrea, I was scheduled to go down in March, down to Medellin to go visit my buddy and hang out for a week. That was the plan. I mean,
So you
my
want to
plans have
send me
changed.
to Colombia
For a field trip. What do you think?
for a field trip to come back with a wife?
Living Podcariously may be able to
He's
fund this.
pimping you out. He's getting money for this.
Oh, you're getting money for this?
Maybe we can have a sponsor tax trip. Do you have is your passport good?
No, I'd have to get a new
So
passport.
that's another $150. All right. So we gotta cover the trip for the airline. You already have a place to stay. There's several bordellos whorehouses down there. So we got to cover your airfare and your passport. But I figure we send you down for a week. You would come back dressed like Hugh Hefner in a robe with like 3 wives in tow, plus a maid, a quote unquote maid that you can pull back to the States with you. I already know how that's going to work.
You already got it all planned out for me?
What was going to be my trip could be yours. I mean, I'm just
He's
just
gonna
saying.
live through you.
The whole
Live
idea behind the show
podcariously?
is living
Yes,
podcariously. So
He's gonna live podcariously through you.
I want your experiences. You go down there and you come. Of course, I'll make you. I'll put plastic on that couch before you sit back down on it again because I'm sure you're going to catch something.
Oh my God. See, I can't just go down there by myself.
Why not?
What do you mean? I'm going to walking around?
No,
where do I go?
I'd have my boy hook you up. I mean, I'll go down there with you.
No.
You're not allowed to.
No,
No.
you putting your foot down?
No.
We're not
You
married
already
yet.
told me what happens when you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for that reason though. I would go for the reason to get Tach laid. I wouldn't go for the reason to get Adam laid.
It
Adam
wouldn't be
gets
your fault. It
Adam
wouldn't be
getting
your fault.
laid.
It would just happen, apparently.
Adam gets laid enough here. I don't need to go down there.
It just happens when you go to Colombia.
The
It
funny-
wouldn't be your fault.
The funniest thing, Tach, they have a place called Bogota Beer Company, which is a brewery down there. So just like any microbrewery here, but it's like a larger international brewery down there. You can see the Americans a mile away walking down the street. You'll see a 50-year-old dude with literally two like 20-year-old girls that are just drop dead gorgeous, one on each arm. And it's awesome for the guy because he's getting, some beautiful model looking girls down there. But it's really an interesting thing to see. It's a social experiment. These girls are all of a sudden when they're seen with an American guy, no matter how old he is, how good he looks, no matter how fat he is, doesn't matter anything. So you're in. That's a status symbol for this girl to be walking down the street and be seen with this American on her arm. That means a lot to them. Way better than Germans, way better than any other nationality, apparently. Americans are what you want to be seen with because we're associated with wealth. Irrelevant of having any, we're associated with wealth.
So what country does this happen for women?
America.
The U.S.
The U.S. Yeah. Every country in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much the truth. So where does a woman go to get a guy?
Down the street?
An American woman?
Wait, what are you looking for?
You guys have your selection. It's way different for women. You have your selection no matter where you go anyway.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I would go
you can walk in...
Guys don't just walk up to me and talk to me ever.
Well, no, but if you were to walk into any bar in any town, USA, and say, somebody take me home, guarantee it doesn't even matter, not you specifically, any girl, doesn't matter what she looks like.
She could get laid.
Would have at least 10 guys that step up.
But none of that is quality.
Well, now you're quantifying.
Right.
Yeah, you have to.
You don't want some drunk guy who can't even drive you home to take you home. If you just go out with your friends,
there goes my shots.
So, like, if I walked into a bar and did that, I would get kicked out and laughed at.
I'm just saying, when I was single, I would go out and nobody ever talked to me. Ever. I'd have my friends and stuff, and nobody talked to me. They smile and everything, but they didn't talk to me.
Maybe they were intimidated. A lot of really good-looking girls get intimidated. Or guys get intimidated to talk to really good-looking girls.
I'm not very good at talking to girls at a bar. No, never. Unless...
I talked to you at a bar. Wait a minute. I picked you up at a bar.
No, you didn't. Your mom hooked us up.
Well, yeah. She made the connection, but the first place I met you and ever spoke with you in person was at a bar.
Well, if I was at a bar and I started talking to a guy, then yes, then there would be tons around me and his friends would all start talking. But me sitting by myself... Nobody would talk to me unless I started the conversation.
Typically, by yourself is a difficult approach. You always want to have a girl that has a girlfriend or a group of people that she's with.
Yes.
Usually. And how many girls go out by themselves to a bar?
Well, when you have kids and you head out to dive bars, you never know,
Well, then
you just go out when you can.
All right. Fair enough. So, Tach, we're going to set you up with a trip. I want to figure this out. I want to get a sponsor. Right. I want to get somebody to sponsor Tach's trip so we can get the whole story.
Can you just send me on a cruise and maybe a listener will just come with me?
A cruise? Yeah, but our listeners, you heard the questions that come out of the diaries? I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding, listeners. I love all of you. Actually, I don't know many of the people that have submitted those questions. I don't know who they are. Maybe we can just have Kim and her two girlfriends take you out on a cruise.
The two girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
You interested in that?
Hey, girls.
I missed out on that fun.
Dirty Shirley and Megan and Kim. Yeah.
Yep.
A couple episodes. Listeners, listen back a couple episodes ago. You'll hear it. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break in studio. We got to get our vape on and our drink on and whatever, and then we will be right back. Thanks for listening to the show. Check out the sponsor. Check out our new sponsor, Last Drop Vape. They make a premium e-liquid line that is simply fantastic. I vape a lot and use Last Drop Vape's blueberry and strawberry cream. They also have a chocolate that is spot on.
All of Last Drop Vape's premium e-liquids are proudly made in the USA. Their e-juice is bottled in a clean, certified, laboratory used in 100% FDA compliant machinery, meeting AEMSA standards and future FDA regulations.
Visit them at lastdropvape.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/lastdropvape.
If you are interested in becoming a distributor, you can contact them at their website under the wholesaler section.
All right, welcome back. By the way, if you are interested in the music that we play during our breaks, I promised my son I'd give him a plug for his DJ Constant YouTube channel.
Right.
Go check him out, DJ Constant on YouTube. The show, the links are in the show notes. So if you're listening on one of your iTunes or podcatchers or whatever, you can find it in the show notes. But go check out his channel. He's also got some video game stuff that he does on there, but he does a lot of mixing. He's 12, and the music that you hear is from his imagination and his creation at 12. So I'm only encouraging that as much as I can. All right. Tach.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pooping for a minute. All right. We're going to discuss some pooping. Why'd you give the mic to her? She doesn't poop.
No, she was laughing.
I don't poop.
You remember the conversation we were having with the girls in here in studio a couple weeks back where I said my girl's either a ninja pooper or she doesn't poop, that she does't poop. It turns into what, magic fairy pixie dust, and
Lady never says.
I think she shits in the shower and just mushes it down the drain with her heel.
Nope.
Gross.
All right, Tach. So in the fashion of the Twisted 10, all right, not really the Twisted 10, but because this isn't my own creation. This is another list that I pulled.
Okay.
This list is 13 things guys only think about while pooping.
Okay.
This is not women. Women don't think about these things. These are things that guys only think about. Guys like the pooping, the whole session. It's a privacy thing. It's
definitely.
It's an escape. It's a place to think.
Yeah.
I actually had a writer send in a recommendation for us. For this isn't part of the list, but guys are actually smarter while they're pooping. Did you know that?
Does that mean because we're not full of shit?
But that's partially that's partially possible.
I'll be here all week.
No, let's think about it though. You're very focused. Your attention is in one direction. You don't have any other obstacles that are distracting you around you. Your mind is very focused. Let's take something as simple as a crossword puzzle or a game of Sudoku or whatever you do while you're taking a shit. Your mind is just fucking laser focused on what you're doing. You have nothing to distract you in that entire room, right?
Right.
So very, very focused time for guys. I think this guy's onto something. The writer that sent this little bit in, I think he's onto something. Do you agree?
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you so far.
I mean, I can.
I don't know. My uncle, growing up, when I would go to their house, his potty always had a stack of Playboys. So does that make you smarter too? Because
you can't jack it while taking a shit.
Yeah, that's like a horrible.
That's
place
all
for
there
that.
was just the Playboys, and that's how I found out what a Playboy was.
You know what they call it when you take a shit while jerking off?
No.
It's a jackapoo.
Jackapoo.
All right. So let's go over this. 13 things guys only think about while pooping. This is, by the way, from menshealth.com. This is where this submission came in.
Okay.
All right. They go 1 to 13. I'm just going to go in the order that they presented it to us. Yeah, we'll go in the order they presented it to us. All right, number 1. I wonder how many other people on the planet right now are also pooping at this very second. Have you ever thought about that? You know you have.
I don't know if I have, but I will now.
Yeah, well, of course. This goes on to say
but later.
We spend virtually all of our non-pooping time thinking only about ourselves. It's while backing the big brown motorhome out of the garage, however, that we suddenly become one with the 7.1 billion other living, breathing, philosophizing, how do you say that?
Falafels?
Blue waffle?
Philosophizing.
Thrown together on this delicate planet, hurling towards uncertain collective future, and then we wipe and flush. All right, so that was number 1. How many other people are actually taking a shit at the same time we are?
Okay.
Number 2, I could be Elvis Presley right now, 1 second before he died. How many times have you thought about Elvis taking a shit and dying on it?
Never have.
Really?
Yeah.
I've thought about that before.
So far, I haven't thought of either one of these.
Andrea, that's where the king died. You know that, right? He
Yes.
died on his crown.
Yes.
Or his throne. All right. Number 3, maybe this list isn't as good as I was hoping it was. Number 3, why am I only checking for toilet paper now?
No. I always check before I sit down. And I get on women because women don't. Like, I've been with women a lot. And my kids, my daughters, they're just like...
Oh, not your daughter.
Like,
I was meaning you're a whore, not your daughter.
Right. And they're always like, can you throw me some toilet paper? I was like, why don't you ever look before you sit down?
Yep.
Well, if you're in a stall going to pee, not poop, and you're in the stall in a woman's bathroom, you just ask the girl next to you and they hand it to you.
I know, you can't. Look, I don't mind.
You can't do that as a guy.
We had this conversation once before with Ron in studio when we record some older podcasts, and some guys are very, very poop shy.
But you can't just ask for some toilet paper?
No.
I'm one of those as well.
I can, but 9 times out of 10, the other guy in the other stall would never even acknowledge that he heard your voice. It is like a fucking barrier between those walls. You can't talk. If you see each other's feet under the stall, it's a bad thing. I don't give a shit.
So no asking for a cup of sugar, a cup of flour, some toilet paper.
Hey, does this look normal to you? No, none of that. All right, number 4. How awesome are boobs? I mean, guys, what do we think about when we're taking a shit? How awesome are boobs? That's pretty obvious.
Okay.
No, this is a philosophical type of thought. Number 5. Why are there no, quote, B batteries? There's A, there's AAA, there's C, there's D. What happened to the Bs?
I never thought about that before.
This isn't a joke. It's rhetorical. Why are there no B batteries?
Don't know.
I've thought about that before.
C's and D's are better?
I mean, I'll agree with that, yes, but...
Or does that go back to the boobies?
That goes back to number 4. How awesome are boobs? Yes, absolutely. All right, number 6 out of 13. If I turn the heat on upstairs and the AC on downstairs, what will happen?
You get a very large electric bill. That's what happens.
You're going too moral and too logical here.
That's because he's so smart when he's taking a poo.
That's a good point. This goes on to say, will rain clouds form in the stairwell? or will I enter a parallel universe where everything is exactly the same except Kanye West has more realistic self-esteem? That's kind of a funny joke.
So what is this guy doing while he's on the potty? Because he's not just pooing. He's obviously doing something else.
Those are contemplations of the universe right there. He brought Kanye West into the bathroom pooping and talking about air conditioner and heat on one floor to the other.
He has other things going on.
Yeah.
No, I understand like the metaphorical, philosophical thoughts and ideas, but that's not one of them. But yeah, I get it.
Number 8. Damn, I just thought of the perfect response to that Facebook comment some douchebag left earlier.
Yeah.
See, that's not me. I don't do that one because I always go to the bathroom with either my tablet or my phone or something.
Well, yeah, I have it with me. Yeah, of course.
If I don't have it with me, I'm like reading the fucking shampoo bottle 6 times.
Yeah,
you know
I haven't done that since years.
Yeah, I have to have something with me. Have to.
Yeah.
Guys have to have their mind focused on something while taking a shit. You can't just be... So I can do the opposite when I'm like cutting grass. If you're mowing the yard, I can let my mind just fucking go crazy. Now, nowadays, I would probably listen to podcasts the whole time. In fact, I listen to podcasts when I'm taking a shit too. But back in the day, I have to be focused on something. I have to read or, be entertained by something or work.
You need more fiber.
Potentially.
It's too long.
Yeah, potentially. You're making fun of me taking a shit. Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely
It's okay. That's what we do. It's a long time.
9 and 10 are too similar to each other, so I'm going to kind of combine those. Number 9 is, why is the seat so cold? And 10, why is the seat so warm? I mean, maybe initially, but my ass is big enough, it heats it up pretty quick if it's a cold seat.
Really.
And if it's a warm seat, I think, somebody just was in here taking a shit, and I got a warm seat.
We're in Florida, so it doesn't get too cold.
No, I keep my house pretty cold, though. You know that.
That's true.
I keep it at 70 year round. In fact, it's 65 degrees outside right now, and the window's open because it feels so good.
I wear my snowsuit year round in here.
Yeah, all right. Number 11. This is funny. I know the power of the ocean waves can be harnessed to solve all of the world's energy problems forever. The only problem is I don't know how to do it. So you think about how to harness the energy of those waves to provide power.
Right, and then what I would do is I would immediately look up on how to do it.
Harness the power of the waves?
Yeah, I would start trying to teach myself, like, well, what do you got to do? Okay, well, it's probably this. So let's look up how to do that,
While you're giving it the old growler. You know what the old growler is? While you're giving it the old growler.
It's a good way to get hernia, but all right.
I had one of those when I was 17, by the way.
Shocking. I don't give growlers, and I've never had one, so.
You do want that energetic, not energetic. You want that...
mind stimulation?
Yes, the stimulation in the mind. You want that to be going on. At least I do.
Yeah, always.
All right, number 12. And this is a pretty good one. Number 12 is, how many of my friends will unfollow me if I post a picture of this masterpiece on Facebook or Instagram?
God. Definitely, I don't ever do
You ever
that.
taken one? You're like, damn, that's impressive.
No.
I need to snap a... No?
Told you I'm a shy one.
I listened to another podcast in the area, and I think I told you this off air one time, the very first conversation that these guys had was about a bloody shit that one of them had taken and put pictures of it up in their private group on Facebook. Yeah.
Gross.
Exactly, right?
That's why ladies don't poop.
The problem is I kind of wanted to see it. I know it was horrible, but I kind of wanted to. It's like a train wreck you're going to watch, even though the atrocities are happening in front of you. You want to see it. All right, last one is when the hell did I eat corn? Have you ever taken a shit and you see corn, you're like, what the
All right,
fuck?
I'll get that one, yeah.
All right.
Oh, you've seen, you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
All right. But yeah, that was provided to us by a listener, a link from menshealth.com. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. I'm going to, fuck it, I'm not going to put I'm not going to put those links in the show notes. I just want to throw the word Trump in there so we can at least put it in the title. So
You just did?
Trump.
We're not talking about Trump at all, but I want to get those listeners.
You gotta say it too.
Trump.
Trump, yeah.
Hey, does a tight pussy trump tits?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, we had this conversation last week. One of the questions of our diary.
We
though.
did?
I don't think the tightness is the relevance here. I think it's the friction
right.
inside. I think it's the
Yeah,
contours.
we did talk about that.
I think that's the most important part.
Indeed.
Good.
Yeah, but
I forget,
all of it
though.
together makes a good one.
Agreed.
If you got the contours and the tightness, that trumps all.
As long as you don't have what did that girl call it a few weeks ago? Roast beef danglies.
Ooh.
As long as you don't have roast beef danglies. Do you remember what she said? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think that's when I put snagglepuss.
Like a deflated boxer's glove ball that he's hitting. He's
We just
hanging
call
down.
it innies or outies. If you have an innie or an outie.
I've seen some seriously bad outies, by the way.
Have you?
Oh,
I didn't
my
even know
God.
they existed till I looked it up on the internet. And
Oh,
it
yeah.
scared me.
Oh yeah, it literally
Made
looks
me
like
scared to be a woman.
it looks like an open face ham sandwich. Sometimes it's bad.
That's snagglepuss.
Yeah, it gets bad.
Mine stays in.
Yes,
Everything is nice
I
and
can
Get
concur.
everything tucked in. And
Yes.
Tech, where's your famous catchphrase?
I know. I'm waiting. I don't believe you.
I don't believe
Nice
you.
and tight in there.
Yes, Tack can't stand now. All right, kind of switch topics, Tack. Are you into the VR stuff at all? The virtual reality headsets that are coming out?
Yeah, a buddy of mine has that, and I was playing around with it. It's pretty cool.
Disorienting to you?
Yeah,
or-
yeah. I got a little dizzy during the roller coaster one, but yeah, it's cool though. I liked it. It was neat.
I'm interested. So I want to get the new Galaxy that's coming out, and apparently you get a free VR headset with it. I don't know if it's any good or not, but
Yeah.
I want to get that headset that comes with it. There's a company out of, and I don't know exactly. I think it's out of Arizona or maybe Utah. I don't know. Have you ever heard of it? It's called The Void. You ever heard of this before?
No,
It's a virtual reality company. So they buy the Oculus Rift, which is one of the brands,
right.
and they have custom software in this that they make themselves. They write the software for the Oculus Rift, and they have several warehouses out here that they've developed. Inside the warehouses are obviously hundreds of sensors to identify where the device and where the user is, and also to read what the user is doing. So raising their hands, reaching up to somewhere, whatever. Well, I'm going to put a link in our show notes to this, to a YouTube video to watch. This place, when you put the VR headset on, and let's say you walk up to an instrument panel on a spaceship. All right, let's assume that's what you're walking up to in your VR headset.
Yeah.
Well, in the real warehouse where you're walking around, they've got like cameramen and people in there, like not cameramen. That's a bad thing to say.
Yeah, cameras all around.
They have cameras, yes, but they have guys that actually walk around just to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself.
Right.
But they have like where you would actually touch on the VR in your VR headset for touching an instrument panel. There's a fucking panel there.
Yeah,
It's like a foam board, and you go up to the panel and you're pushing the panel, and you can feel the panel. You know right where it is. So you have that extra sensory perception of this going on.
Yeah.
And then you walk, down a corridor and you shoot a bad guy that pops out, and there's a real corridor and real things for you to hide behind. So when you duck behind a corridor, you can feel this shit. They got an elevator. You can go stand on this little platform, and it shakes, it vibrates. And they have fans that blow on you, so it really feels like you're moving upwards. And then in your VR headset, you're going up 1,000 feet.
Right.
And then you
right.
turn around, and there's a cliff, and you can like walk off the cliff, but really, in reality, you haven't gone anywhere. It's just the simulation that and it fucks people up. I so want to go try this. It looks like it would be a really, really cool thing to do.
And where is this?
I think Utah, or I don't remember. Yeah, it doesn't actually say on here. So the YouTube video that I'll put in our show notes, just go watch it and you'll see. That's
cool.
some shit that I want to do.
What
And
about virtual reality porn?
that's something that they're already showing on YouTube as well, where you see people that are experiencing that.
And they're like, they can feel it, touch it. They think they
Well,
are, I mean.
In those, the manipulation, you're touching something, but it's not, you don't have resistance in the air. So
But it's so real that they're like, whoa.
exactly, spreading your hands inside there. And,
So dirty.
yeah. There's actually a commercial with what the hell's his name? It's the rapper. Oh fuck, I forgot his name. But he's sitting on the couch with another a basketball player, and he's like, hey, leave me alone. I'm giving birth to this baby rhino, and you can see him pulling a rhino out or a baby elephant or something. Oh, dude, it's funny. It's good. I want to get it. PlayStation has got one coming out for it too. I don't know if it's Oculus Rift or not. I don't know what their brand is that they're coming out
cool.
with.
Yeah,
but let's see, what else have I got?
Well, as far as VR technology, what I think, there's tons of things you can do besides just gaming shit. There's so much you can do. But what I think is really going to be cool is when you mix VR with the real world, and that's what's going to be awesome.
Mix VR with the real world. You're talking about like that movie. What was the movie where they controlled other people? It was Bruce Willis.
Was it the Holocaust? Schindler's List?
No. It was future, set in the future, where they controlled
people.
What is it when you use somebody else to get something done for you?
There's a manager.
Pinocchio.
No, there's a term for it.
Pinocchio.
Oh fuck.
Maybe you dreamed this.
Surrogates. There we go. Bam.
Oh.
Surrogates.
Oh,
in
Bruce
Surrogates,
Willis.
yeah, in Surrogates, Bruce Willis hooks himself up and he goes into a surrogate body and he's this younger stud-looking dude.
Right.
And then when he's back at home, he's this old fat guy. I mean,
that's not quite what I mean.
Oh.
I mean, like, it's kind of like the HoloLens, kind of.
Never saw that. I don't know what that is.
You're not familiar with HoloLens? Oh, wow. What it is like these glasses, like the Google Glass.
Yep.
Failure. But they're going to have this new one that's like glasses, going to be like, where it's going to be a 360, like virtual reality. But there's actually, they can do games like to where like it knows your entire surroundings. Okay. And they're like, let's say for an example, there's a game. Okay. It can be like zombies or whatever. And it'll put like, CGI things in your real world. Like it can put like a monster or something sitting in that chair or hiding behind the chair or something like that. It knows everything that's going on around you. But also there's just other things too, like you can even pull up the internet like on this wall or something right here. Only you see it because you have the glasses on. They can do stuff like that.
So I could be like in class at college and then watching porn. Watching a fake porn star blowing my professor or something.
Well, sort of, yeah. And then the one thing they're really doing with it and who is using this technology, and there's like a YouTube video out there where it shows an example, is Minecraft. They have this Minecraft that's amazing.
Really?
Like they showed this demonstration that they did because there was a guy doing it, and they also had a camera that was showing the HoloLens what he sees. And then he was playing Minecraft up on a wall, okay, and then he moved it to the table. And table, it was 3-dimensional, 360 world of Minecraft, to where you can like build and all that, and you can like zoom in and like look inside a building just by sticking your head in there.
No shit.
It was amazing. Like, holy shit. And this is still in the infancy stages.
Yeah. So VR has tried to come out a couple of times before. So back when we were kids, like maybe even young teenagers, VR tried to come out a little bit with these big, super expensive headgear and the whole thing, and then it just completely flopped. I think this iteration of VR, because it's reasonably priced and the graphics processing is so advanced, it's actually going to take off. I think we're finally at that point.
Oh yeah, I listened to a whole podcast where this guy who does VR programming and stuff like that, that's all the podcast talked about was this topic.
Really?
It was awesome. I think it was a Pointless Podcast with Kevin Pereira.
So since Jimmy turned me on to that in Taint Funny, I've been listening to several of those podcasts. I haven't heard I've heard maybe 5.
I have to find the episode, but you should check it out. I can probably find it right now. Well, it's Virtual Reality Los Angeles, Cosmo Sharf on the Pointless Podcast.
When was the release date of that one?
January 11th.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to that one. I want to hear that.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
I've listened to several, like I say, I've listened to several of them, and they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of them that are a little dry, but hey,
Kevin Pereira is fucking awesome. That guy is so witty, quick with comedy. He's so good, man.
All right, well, let's take a break and come back and do our diary. Got a couple more questions submitted, and I have a video that I want us to watch after we answer our questions, and we're going to comment on. It's really you listen to the video, but I'll have it up in here too. Okay. Listen to the video, and I want us to have our commentary going as we're listening. I'll pause it if we need to make some comments during the video too, but it's lengthy. I'll cut out what we don't want to air in there.
Gotcha.
But Andrea, why don't you take us out?
Thanks for listening. Check out our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Introducing Rave in a Box, your single online stop for all of your rave and festival goodies. Rave in a Box sells and ships all of your rave and glow toys, along with flow arts, gloves, diffraction glasses, and more. Their simple-to-use shopping cart and standard 2-day shipping will have your products in your hands just in time for your next performance. Visit them at raveinabox.com, also Facebook and Instagram by searching Rave in a Box.
Peering into the inner thoughts and expressions of men. Women submit questions for Adam and Tach to get brutal, honest admissions. We call this the Guyry. Guyry? Really? Is that the best we could come up with? So, Tach, this week we had 3 questions submitted, so kind of a slow week for the Guyry for us.
Okay.
But we also had a video that was sent in to us.
Okay.
And when we're done with the questions that we're going to go through, I'm going to play the audio from this YouTube video, and I'll put the video in the show notes if you want to go watch it. But it's right up the line of the questions that we ask on Guyry. In fact, I think there was a couple that probably were submitted based on the video were very similar, but I mean the questions don't get too deep. I mean it's pretty straightforward. So I figured since Andrea Joy is in here with us this week, maybe she can read us the 3 questions that we had submitted.
All right. Well, we'll start then.
All right.
This one is anonymous.
No name, no age, nothing like that?
Nothing.
Okay.
Why do they say food is the way to a man's heart?
Tach, you want to go with that one first?
I guess so. Well, I mean, it's no secret here. I love food. And I love to eat. And, I mean, I'm trying to lose weight right now. So it's not... although we did have a nice meal prepared by Andrea Joy.
Andrea did hook us up with a hell of a good homemade lasagna.
Yes, it was good. I don't know, just like, I don't know. I love food. I mean...
Is there anything maybe on a subconscious level that
like it's like a Freudian thing here? Is this what you're looking for?
I mean, everyone always says if you want to win a guy over, you cook him a good meal. Why is that?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that because most relationships I've been in, with the exception of like one maybe, they didn't know how to cook. You know, I was always the cook in the relationship. And so I don't really know.
You're not in a relationship right now. Maybe that's... that's the reason
out
why.
Of all the relationships I've been in, most of them couldn't even boil water. I mean, I'm telling you, it was bad.
Were you dating? Wait a minute. Were you dating me? Because that's like my.
Because they were like, you know, they think nuking something in a microwave is cooking. And I'm like, that's not cooking. Like, cook like a meal. And most of them had no clue how to do it.
So my spice rack consisted of salt and pepper. When Andrea came over here the first time to make me a meal, that's all I had. I think it's a little bit deeper. So I think it gets down to a subconscious level for a man. Yeah, so a woman that makes a good meal and can provide sustenance for a man or his children or, his family or something like that says something to that man subconsciously. Like, this woman, sure, I can be a provider of I can go out and kill the animal and bring it home, but she can prepare it and make it into a meal or something. You know what I mean?
Is it going back to the 50s persona kind of thing?
Well, I think he's talking even further back.
Yeah, I was going back to caveman.
Yeah, caveman thing, like the hunters and gatherers and
yeah.
I mean, no, it's definitely cool. Like the girl I was with who could cook, it was nice. It was awesome. We used to trade off on cooking meals, and we always fought over Thanksgivings. We alternated Thanksgiving.
You guys both wanted to cook on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Oh.
Together.
Well, I mean, we did, but it was like, well, who's doing the bird this year? Kind of a thing. We still would kind of collaborate together, but
yeah. Listen, I'll be the one drinking beer, watching football. I have no problems doing the cleanup. I'm good with that. I'm just not good. I'm good on the grill.
God, you can come over to my house then. Cleanup is the worst part. Oh my God.
No, he's mine. I got him to clean up my mess.
Damn.
All right, but I think it's more subconscious. I think it tells a man. It presents a home feeling to a man to have a woman that can provide a meal, sustenance for his family or his
I get that. I just haven't really experienced it. So this generation of women, they don't know how to cook.
You hear that, listeners? Get on it.
They just don't.
Meet Tach. Show him a thing or two about the kitchen.
I'll teach you how to cook. I taught my daughters how to cook, so.
Good.
Awesome.
All right, next question.
All right. Well, this one comes from everyone's favorite, Dirty Shirley,
Aw, yeah.
22. She wants to know, who is a celebrity that everyone else loves, but you can't stand? Also, who is your Hollywood girl?
I got an easy one that I can't stand, but everybody else seems to be fascinated with.
Okay.
And I think it's because she got a role in a movie that I think was better given to another actress at the time. Now, this actress has since been absolutely batshit crazy, but that's not the point. Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
Everyone seems to be fascinated with this woman, and I think she's disproportionate, and her lips are too big, and she's just not attractive to me. I don't see it. I see the sex appeal, don't get me wrong. I see that people could be attracted to that kind of curve, but it's not my thing. I mean, not at all. You see her naked in what movie was that? The one with the guns. Shooting?
Well, she was naked in Gia.
Never saw that.
Yeah.
That's when she was a Marine or something, right?
No. It's a true story about this.
Oh, that was a
model.
long... She actually had more weight on her in that one. I remember that from a while back. She was a little bit bigger of a woman. That was sexier than she is in Hollywood stereotype ever now. Back then.
I'm not sure.
In the future. From
but
when?
This is, what?
What? What happened? Nothing, go ahead.
Oh, this is a perfect question for Jimmy. If he was here, he would rattle off a whole shopping list of girls that he thinks is ugly that everybody loves. I mean, you think of the hottest chicks that you can imagine. Oh, she's ugly. She's ugly. She's ugly. And it's just kind of funny. And for me, I don't know. See, I'm one of those guys that I like everybody, and I think 99% of the actors out there are hot. And if there's a question like, is she hot? I probably think she is.
So the one that you would really like is Precious, right? That's the one you really like.
Precious, like from the movie Precious?
Yeah, that's your cup of tea right there.
No, definitely not. The traditional hot girl, yeah.
All right. The girl that I find the most sexy right now is she's not so much a actress in Hollywood as she is local. She's done some plays and stuff over at the Cocoa Playhouse. Her name's Andrea. Let me tell you, she's the bee's knees. No, I'm just kidding. She is, but no.
That dirty slut.
Yeah, something that's kind of weird. She's not my body type, but I've been watching a series lately that I found her very sexy in, and that's, I told you earlier I was watching this, is Starship, or Star Trek Enterprise, the Scott Bakula, or whatever his name is.
Scott Bakula.
Should I be hearing this?
That chick, you know who I'm talking about? That chick on there?
I do not know.
Oh, let me look up her name. She plays Patal or Katal.
The one
or
with the big fake boobs?
the big fake boobs, yes, her.
Yes, she's so not me.
Yeah, no, I know, but normally that's not the body type that I like. I like that
He's
came
already
off.
over me.
Whatever.
Hang on.
Now, if I'm on Star Trek,
It's all right, I'll take it.
Her name is
I'll take
Her name
it.
is Jolene Blaylock. Do you know that name, Tach?
Negative.
All right.
That was my third grade teacher's name, Blaylock.
How about that? Does that ring any bells?
No.
That's
All right,
not me.
I'll show you her Romulan pic or her Vulcan picture from when she was on the show. How about that?
Oh, I've seen that.
You recognize
seen
her?
I never watched the show, but I've seen her.
Yeah. I dig her. That's what I mean, other than that, I don't really guess I have any. Denise Richards was my girl back in the day. Back in, like, what the hell was the show she was on?
Wild Things
Yeah.
time? Yeah.
Yes. That was my girl back in the day.
Yeah, she was sexy back then, yeah.
And then the other one is probably the little blonde that does all the comedies that's cute as hell and, like, innocently funny. She's done, like, the scary movies. The blonde that's in scary movies.
The blonde?
You know who I'm talking about?
The blonde?
Yes. Oh, she was in she was a Playboy bunny in the movie where she went back to the
Oh,
sorority.
you're talking about Anna Faris.
Is
She's
that her
not
name?
really, I guess she's a blonde sometimes. Sometimes, most of the time, she's a brunette.
She was a blonde in all those ones.
She thinks she's a blonde in
Let me see if that's her.
the Playboy one. Her body
Yeah.
was
Anna
banging.
Faris. Yeah. That's it.
Her body was banging that Playmate one.
Yeah, that one. Anna Faris. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's unbelievably funny and
No,
adorably
she's cute.
cute.
Yeah, she's hilarious. And that's one thing that really turns me on is sense of humor. What?
That's what he always says about me. I think he says that about all the girls.
Yeah.
don't talk to my exes.
I I do all the time.
I know. Unfortunately, you talk to my exes more than anybody else does.
They show up everywhere we go.
Oh my God, dude, you gotta move.
No shit, right? They won't be able to find me then. What's the next question? Third question.
She's getting closer to me, by the way.
That's all right. You're warm.
This one is from April, who's 26 years old. What's the weirdest/dullest non-sexual thing your mind has wandered off to while masturbating?
So masturbating is an interesting added to that. If it was sex, I don't think this is our April, by the way. I think this is a different April.
I'm looking. Can you repeat the question? Maybe not. I was really distracted by the sexiness.
Huh.
What's the weirdest, dullest, non-sexual thing your mind has wandered off to while masturbating?
Wow.
Adding masturbation in there is an important part because I'll force my mind to go think about some things when I want to control my orgasm with a woman, but I don't want to control it when I'm jerking off. I just want to get it over with. You know what I mean? I don't like light candles for myself. You know what I mean? I don't need to set a mood for myself. I don't need to prolong sex for myself.
All right. So I'll switch it to what's the weirdest, dullest thing your mind has wandered off to during sex?
Ooh.
Masturbating. I'm serious.
Picturing
it's true.
yourself jerking it.
Yeah. That's an honest answer.
To control an orgasm, so it's both physical and mental for me. Physical is breathing. So if I control my breathing, I can control usually my heart rate and my body's ability to want to have an orgasm. Mentally, I place myself at work. I place myself in the least sexually stimulating place I can think of at the time. So maybe in the middle of the desert, or actually at my desk at work here at the Cape, or whatever. I'll place myself in my mind at that location so it puts me in that state of mind as close as I possibly can get just to control it. Usually I don't have to do that. Usually breathing works for me just fine. But
as a woman, I don't do that at all. I try to think of the most sexual thing I can possibly, sexy thing I can think of to get off.
Tack. You can say
like,
tack.
I don't let, if my mind wanders off, I'm going to be making grocery lists, cleaning the house, and I'll never get off.
So you don't understand. There is no such thing as a girl who has premature ejaculation. It's a guy.
It's all I can do to like stay in the moment with all that goes on in my head.
All the voices?
I have to think of all the dirty things I can all at once.
So weirdest thing.
That sounds bad, though.
What?
You have to think about dirty stuff?
Oliver's biting the mic over there.
While you're with him?
No, I didn't say that.
It's all right. Say it. Look, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
No, but I have to make sure that my mind stays in the moment. Like, guys are trying to think of a million things to not be in the moment. And that's all that my mind does. It's so opposite, guys and girls.
It's embarrassing. If a guy has any kind of premature issues, that's an embarrassing thing for a guy, and that's tough to recover from. So if a guy starts down that path, then you get into this repetitive pattern, and it's difficult to come back from that. That's a difficult thing to come back from.
But sometimes guys just go too long.
Well, that's important. The girl has to communicate to that guy. Well, hurry up and get it over with.
I've had that issue in the past where I have gone too long several times.
I thought you were going to say when guys went too long in you.
No, like to where I've had issues where like it's way too long, and sometimes you get to the point where we just give up. It sucks.
Well, by then the girl's probably ready for you to go up.
So to answer this...
no, it's been like a mutual, like,
I don't know.
It's not happening.
Where do guys think that they have to go forever and ever and ever and ever?
Longevity. Bragging rights for you to brag to your girlfriends about it. That's all.
We don't brag about that stuff at all. It's what you do when you're in the moment, not how long you go.
All right. Hey, this is good to hear. Keep going.
It doesn't have to go forever, because that's just like, oh my God, are you done yet? Look at the clock. I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying in general.
No, I know what you're doing when you're looking at your wrist all those times during sex. No, it makes a lot of sense.
There's not watches nowadays. It's the phone, right? Got the timer on the phone.
Is that why you always want to be in doggy style, so you can have your phone underneath the pillow and you're
like
playing fucking Angry Birds or something while I'm
I gotta look at some porn while we're
ram jamming from behind? Just kidding.
No.
All right. So to answer this girl's question, and this is not the same April, I don't think. That's our friend. But to answer this girl's question, tie it back to masturbation. What's the weirdest thing you've ever thought about while masturbating?
I don't know. We
got to be honest with our listeners here. So weirdest, most oddest, amputees. Come on, you got to say amputees. Remember that Twisted 10? You remember it?
No.
Sexual fetishes?
Oh, barely.
Amputee porn? You know you like it. How about plushophiles? You interested in plushies and the furries?
Well, no, not even a little bit. I really...
Weirdest thing I've ever thought about? Weirdest thing to masturbate to?
I don't know.
Guys have an interesting way to access their memory, at least I do, when I'm masturbating. I want to go to something that I know works and is familiar and is fun and is...
Yeah, you don't want a challenge.
I don't.
Yeah.
I do it totally different. Like, I've never been with a woman. I don't have any desire to be with a woman.
Damn.
But if I'm masturbating, I like to watch girl on girl. I like to watch lesbian porn. I like that. When I had
Just let that soak in, Tach.
I don't understand that because I don't have a desire to do so, nor will I.
We
I'm
kind
not
of talked about
way.
that in the past. The girls are just beautiful to watch. Guys are a fucking train wreck. We've got these things hanging down and just hair and just, it's just a mess. Girls have beautiful bodies, very well groomed, very well manicured, looking great.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't be with a girl. I definitely don't feel like I'm a lesbian, but I do love to, I don't know.
You know, I got into a weird thing when I was like 23 or 24. I was a little bit younger. No, I was probably 21 or 22. I got into upskirts, like the pictures and videos of upskirts. Have you ever seen those? I mean, it's a huge thing on the internet.
Of course I've seen, yeah.
I got into that big time, and not like seeing vaginas, but seeing just the panties.
No, that's sexy.
That was a big thing to me.
It's sexy, yeah.
Yeah, but when you have all these other porns that are available and you see full intercourse online, why would you care about seeing panties? You know what I mean?
No, it's a turn on. It's
I don't anymore.
I get it.
That doesn't do anything for me anymore, but back then that did stuff for me, and I would masturbate to that. So that's a little weird. I'm a little freak. I got it. I understand.
So we're both freaks.
Yeah, we
Gotcha,
are.
babe.
Yeah. I guess so. Come on, Tach. Come out with the admission. I came out with my upskirt one.
I don't have any. Why would you look
Come on,
at
we're all
weird
telling
shit?
secrets. We gotta tell secret. Look, I'm all cuddled on you now.
I know.
Do we make a cute couple?
You guys do. You look like brother and sister.
God.
All right, so that wraps up the Guyry questions. Now, Tach,
Yeah.
I have a video
Okay.
that we're going to watch. Okay, so this video goes right along with the theme of the Guyry. It's women asking guys questions. We'll watch the whole video, and I can pause it through the video, and we can, commentate on it or whatever.
Okay.
But these are women's questions for men and a man's response to these questions.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
It's Trump-tastic.
Hey, Trump!
Trump.
You guys can hear that all right?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Why do you hate rom-coms? Or do you just feel like you need to hate them?
Rom-coms are boring. They have the same story, which is about some woman in a love triangle. It's female wish fulfillment, and since I don't have
Isn't
a
this what you
vagina,
said?
I'm not interested in watching these movies for the same reason you probably...
So a couple of these are very similar or spot on to the questions that we've got in the past, by the way. Not all of them, but a couple of them.
Everybody likes The Notebook. Everybody likes Beyonce. It's just a fact.
The Notebook got a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, so no, you're an idiot. Even
I've
the
never
audience
seen
scores
The
are only
Notebook.
85%.
I've seen it.
Just
I actually like
15%
it.
shy of...
You haven't seen The Notebook?
I've never seen The Notebook.
I've seen it. It's a pretty good movie. I actually kind of like it.
I mean, it's good. It's a love story, and it's sad, and fuck it.
Yeah.
Everybody. In fact, the highest ranked romantic comedy according to Rotten Tomatoes is the 1940 movie The Philadelphia Story, starring Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn. Never heard of it? That's because you're an uncultured retard.
Why do you make women sit around and talk about men in movies?
I'm going to steal a line from Teal Deer, but citation needed. Please provide some example of women being forced to talk about men in movies against their will.
Y'all easily just sit around and talk about boobs for hours.
Why?
Alright, this one isn't allowed to talk anymore. You think The Notebook is a flawless movie, and you think that men talk about boobs for hours. You have nothing
Right.
valuable to contribute to the
I
human
love
race,
talking about
much
boobs.
less this conversation.
Do you automatically assume that you won't like TV or movies that star a female lead?
Why?
I love the new Star Wars movie despite it having a female lead. In fact, the female lead was the weakest part of the movie. But I still loved it and
That's
would
a good
rank
point.
it third or fourth among all the
think
movies
so.
in the
All over.
franchise. The problem isn't female leads per se, but most often when the movie or TV show has a female lead, it's marketed towards a female audience. So the problem isn't the female lead, but the entire premise of the movie or TV show. By the way, why are you wearing men's clothes?
Surprised when women are funny.
Because it never happened. The rarer something is, the more surprised one is when it is witnessed.
I'm probably funnier than you.
No comment.
Why do you think that we're obsessed with you when we hook up?
9 times out of 10, I just want you to leave too. I'm busy. I got shit to do.
Generally, women don't just sport fuck random men. They are usually looking to use sex to start a more serious relationship. You may be the rare woman that is comfortable being a casual booty call or friend with benefits, but that's not the norm.
I cannot sleep with as many people as I want to without being judged. When men do it, they're congratulated.
Why?
That's a complex question that has a lot to do with the differing expectations and benefits men and women have when in a relationship. Generally, the woman wants a man to provide her with resources, while the man wants the woman to provide him with sex. Having multiple sexual partners doesn't get in the way of the man fulfilling his role towards women, but it directly interferes with the woman fulfilling her role towards the man. Go ahead and slut it up if you want, but realize that the bigger whore you are, the less men will find you an attractive potential partner. They'll be happy to have sex with you, but once your looks fade, nobody will want you because your vagina will hang like a wizard's sleeve.
Why do you consider a woman a tease if she doesn't sleep with you after 3 dates, but a slut if she sleeps with you on the first date?
If the man took you out on 3 dates and spent an average of, let's say, $60 per date, he spent nearly $200, and these are not extravagant dates either. It's just going out to Olive Garden or something. If a man spends $200 on you, and you're not saving yourself for marriage or anything, but you don't want to have sex with him, you were just using him for free dinners and entertainment. And you're a bitch, because you were wasting his time and money while leading him on for several weeks. If you have sex with him on the first date, that may or may not be appropriate and get you labeled a slut. If he took you out somewhere really expensive and spent a lot of money on you, at least a BJ is customary. However,
What if
he
the
took you to
girl
Burger
goes out
King
and spends a lot of money on you, though?
Still give him a blowjob.
No, I will put out immediately.
You would?
Absolutely.
Well, damn, I went out with the wrong guy.
Right?
I put out pretty quick. I don't want to hear it.
I had to wait for like 3 or 4 dates, though.
Well, that was nature. That wasn't my fault. Look, the very first night I met you, we slept together, but we didn't have sex, but you slept over.
Of course, I wouldn't give it up.
Right.
I'm in the bathroom at the restaurant. That's pretty slutty in my book, but it's all about context.
What world does no mean yes?
No means no.
Why?
Oh, Hanuman, give me strength. Not this yes means yes shit again. Well, at least they aren't talking about the fucking gender wage gap.
Why do you say that women are too emotional to be leaders?
Women are far more emotional and less logical than men. This has been demonstrably and clinically proven.
Pretty accurate.
However, if women want to be leaders, go build something from the ground up and lead it. Don't come into things built by men and demand to be the leader because you have a vagina and it's the current year.
Okay, so I have to preface that a little bit. This guy's a little misogynist, all right? This is not necessarily the view of Living Podcariously, or the hosts, or the callers, or the guests, or anybody else. But there's some funny statements in here.
Then justify catcalling by saying men just can't control themselves.
Why?
I have never heard anyone defend catcalling by saying men just can't control themselves. But when feminists are calling men saying hello, good morning, and general pleasant greetings catcalling, the problem isn't that men can't control themselves, but women are so entitled and insane that they perceive any social interaction with a man they don't think is good enough to talk to them to be harassment.
I thought it was
I do
flattering.
think that just because you're nice to me, I owe you my body.
Why?
Why do you think that just because you're nice to a man, that they owe you their money and or utility? When women flirt with men in order to manipulate them into providing resources or utility with no intention of sex or affection, that's not you being nice. That's you being a manipulative bitch.
Get him.
Be honest about your intentions, and there won't be an issue.
Right?
But don't be surprised when fewer men trip over themselves to serve you when they realize you have no intention to have any physical relationship with them.
Would you ever send an unsolicited dick pic?
Maybe we're proud of our dicks. Women post what they're eating and other random shit on their social media that nobody cares about. What if I have a really awesome dick and I just want to share it with the world one Tinder match at a time?
Why do you feel like it's okay to harass women or make offensive comments about women, but when somebody does it to your sister, it's not okay?
Without context, this question is difficult to answer. Generally, women accuse a man of harassment for simply disagreeing with them, especially in regards to feminism. But that would not be equal to someone, say, threatening my sister or another female family member with physical violence. So calling both of these examples harassment is a logical fallacy. It is designed to censor free speech by equating anything women don't like with actual harassment. So fuck you.
Interrupts me when I'm in the middle of making a point during a meeting.
Because you probably didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. Based on your nose ring, I can tell your life is a string of bad decisions anyway. And I doubt whatever you were saying in this hypothetical meeting would prove otherwise.
Based on your nose ring, I know that your life is a string of bad decisions.
Hey, we just talked about the salon. We have 4 people with a nose ring and 4 people without. So
Oh, really?
We're half and half. Is that half good decisions and half bad decisions?
Sounds like it.
You have to sit with your legs so wide open.
I get that you have balls, but I don't stand around with my arms wide open to make room for my boobs.
I do.
Holy shit, you can't be this retarded. Look at your shoulders. Do you see how far apart your arms are? Now look at your legs. Do you see how close your thighs are? Now imagine you have a very sensitive organ dangling between those thighs and use your imagination. In addition to having balls, men have narrower hips because we don't give birth to babies, making our thighs even closer together than that of a woman.
Preach it, fucker.
Hence we spread our legs when we sit down because it's comfortable. Besides, your giant purses take up far more space on public transport than a man with his knees slightly open in his seat.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex? Even though we literally birth you. Like watermelons through like this.
Why is it?
Women are physically weaker than men, hence they are the weaker sex. Giving birth to babies is not a feat of strength, any more than taking a shit while constipated is. You're a moron.
It's so bad to show your emotions.
It means you're human.
Men do show their emotions, just not around women. They do it when they're safely away from women in a male space with their bros, usually accompanied with alcohol. Men don't show emotions around women because women are disgusted by weak men. When women try to get a man to open up about his feelings, he's looking for something to manipulate him with later.
No.
Why are you always trying to prove your masculinity to me?
Because it makes your pussy wet, and we're trying to introduce our dick. If women were attracted...
Best, by far the best answer of this whole thing, because it makes your pussy wet.
But Sim does the emotional stuff sometimes.
Well, what he said about the emotional stuff was, and I'll give him a plug here at the end, but what he said about his emotional stuff is pretty much, for the most part, true. You don't want to see a guy who's crying a lot.
Not a lot or anything, but you do like to see that emotional side sometimes, to know that there's a human in there that connects with you.
I half agree with you. More so than the average male, probably. However, I don't think that those levels of emotions...
You don't have to agree with me. You're not a woman. I'm talking from a woman. You want to feel validated sometimes.
Okay.
It makes you feel more open to talking to the men.
Men would become weak and cry more. However, women are not attracted to weak men that cry, so men have to bury their emotions and prove their masculinity in order to hopefully be granted access to your vagina. Since women desire utility from a man, he has to prove his utility via demonstrating masculinity. Women don't have to prove anything because all men desire in women is basically sex.
Why the f*** isn't it ladylike to cuss? When did words get gendered?
Why is it your first instinct to doubt women who have been sexually violated or raped?
Why do you?
Because women lie. And prior to an investigation, the accuser should always be doubted. I know this doesn't make sense to you because you're a woman and you have a care-based morality instead of a justice-based morality, but trust me when I tell you that the standard of innocent until proven guilty is very good. It is the hallmark of a free society, even if it means women aren't automatically believed when they accuse a man of rape, because she regrets the sex the next day.
You assume a woman's angry because she's on her period.
Why do you assume that you're not angry when you're on your period?
Oh my god, this guy's getting hardcore now.
Isn't he? He's getting a little bit more rough as the interviews go on. He's there again. I think I have to add that precedence in there. This is not Living Vicariously's views. This is just submitted to us to watch.
Wear makeup or false advertising. We can say the same thing about your dick size.
When you wear makeup, push-up bras, fake hair, or even cosmetic surgery, you are misrepresenting your genetic health and fitness, which is why men are attracted to youth and beauty in the first place. Comparing this to a man's dick size isn't the right comparison. A better comparison is a man lying about his job or income in order to get a woman to sleep with him. In both cases, they are misrepresenting what the opposite sex is looking for in a partner in order to receive positive attention, and are thus false advertising.
Pretty accurate.
Hope that clears things up.
I work in a salon.
Why isn't it weird that there's a bunch of old white men sitting in a room making legislation about what I can and can't do with my body?
Do you have a coochie?
Why are
I don't give one fucking shit what you do with your body until the moment you require me to pay for it, at which point it becomes my business. When you scream to the government to pay for this and subsidize that, you're giving the government permission to regulate your body. If you don't like it, there is a very easy solution. Pay for your own shit. Get a job and pay for your own shit.
Fucking hardcore.
Keep your hands out of my wallet, and I'll keep my laws off your body. Deal?
Straight guys so obsessed with lesbians.
Citation needed. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about porn? Men like lesbian porn because it's naked women having sex with each other. Hallelujah!
How does it feel to get kicked in the balls?
Do you ever get tired of trying to be manly all the time?
You're just repeating your previous question about proving masculinity. Have you run out of questions already?
Why are you so afraid of gender equality?
Why?
Because it doesn't exist. Men and women are biologically different, and not just sexually, but in many areas, including the brain, which affects intelligence. I've made several videos on this subject, but let me just paraphrase by saying that when a society seeks to achieve gender equality, the only logical outcome is that men are pulled down to women's level. And eventually the society fails because the entire foundation of that society is undermined.
Why do I deserve to be paid less than you?
In what world does 77 cents equal $1?
In what world does 68 cents equal $1?
How is that fair?
Motherfucker. God fucking damn it. Why couldn't we get through one fucking video without this wage gap bullshit? Look, ladies, you want to eliminate the wage gap? Stop having kids. Period. That's what causes it. It's not sexism or the patriarchy, it's women dropping out of the workforce to have families. Stop having kids, and the wage gap disappears within one generation. If you want men to be paid less so that women can be paid more in order to make up for women dropping out of the workforce to have children, then companies will stop hiring women. The laws of economics will win in the end, no matter how many laws you pass.
Okay, that's not untrue, but it's also unbelievably exaggerated. The stop having kids thing.
Right.
Right? Am I just off here, or do you guys agree with this kind of funny misogynist here?
No, yeah.
I don't know.
Is he pissing you off?
No, he's not pissing me off.
All right.
No, it's funny how I always say that if I just quit my job and start having a bunch of babies, I'll make a lot more money, though.
That's because of the government subsidies.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Back to Trump again. So we said Trump around like 3 or 4 times.
Why are you intimidated by a woman who makes more money than you? That's awesome. More money.
I'm not intimidated, but men being more logical and rational than women will see a huge problem coming down the road when talk about starting a family comes up. Because women have the babies, they will have to leave their job at least temporarily in order to have said babies. They may not even want to return to work at all once they bond with a new baby and all those mommy hormones kick in. If the woman was the breadwinner earning all the money for the family, this puts the man in quite the predicament. Also, hypergamy. It's a thing and men know about it. So getting involved with a woman that makes more money than you is not going to end well long term because she will always be looking to trade up constantly.
Why are opinionated women seen as bitches?
Because they don't know what they're talking about and respond to reasoned criticism by being a bitch.
Because they don't know what they're talking about is his answer. Oh, no, God, I love it. It's almost over.
Opinionated men are seen as bosses.
Men tend to have informed opinions. They provide logic and evidence to back up their opinions, which earns them respect that women will never know.
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
I know I said I wasn't going to respond to this bitch again, but I can't let this one go. Fuck you and your rally cry to white knights to censor other men. I wish all the bad things in life to happen to you. Out of all the women in this video, you are by far the most odious and deplorable cunt. And I just want you to know how I feel.
Why are you so afraid of
Sounds like my
recognizing your own
ex-boyfriend.
privilege? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just recognize it and do something about it.
Someone being ignorant of their privileges is one thing, but seeking to expand their privileges every day at the expense of the opposite sex does in fact make someone a bad person. This is why I think feminists are absolutely terrible people.
All right. So that came from Turd Flinging Monkey is the channel.
That
All
makes
right.
sense.
So quite misogynist. However, that's a real man answering questions that women have for him.
I didn't
So-
take offense. That was his opinion. That's fine.
Very similar to our Guyery segment. Maybe we can get him to call in for an episode or something.
That'd be cool.
We should
Look
have
him up.
Yeah, I'll reach out, see if I can make some contact with him.
I think it's funny, though, when you're on the Guyery now that you guys are so calm and nice tonight with me in here. When y'all have other girls in here, y'all are a lot wilder.
Not necessarily.
Am I like the mother figure?
We're the same.
Wilder? What are you talking about?
Y'all are a lot dirtier, talking a lot more stuff.
Well, we also
And
had
y'all
some,
have been a lot calmer with me in here.
the questions tonight weren't necessarily that raw.
Is it because I made you lasagna? Am I like the mother figure? You gotta be like nice to me.
Maybe.
No.
You
Yeah.
can't
Well,
say
I can-
derogatory stuff.
No, all I can say for me is I'm a little tired because I worked 12 and a half hours today, and I've been up since 4:30. But I mean,
I'm tired because we had sex like 4 times today, so that's... Sorry, Tach.
It was 4.5.
Just kidding.
The kids are on spring break, you gotta cut it back.
Yeah. Gotta ramp that back a little bit. All right. Well, that's all I got for this week. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Maybe have them come up and see you up at your salon?
Plug.
Trump?
You want to have Trump again? Yeah. I swear to God, I'm going to put
Trump discount.
I swear to God, I'll put that in the title of the show just to see the numbers of downloads.
No, if anyone wants to come in and see me at Brent Allen Salon, I'll give them 10% off if they mention this podcast.
Oh, sweet. Well, there you go, listeners. Check that out. And where are you located?
I'm located on US 1 at Brent Allen Salon in Cocoa. It's about a mile north of 528.
There you go. So if you happen to be over this area, most of our downloads come from the Central Florida area. So if you guys are in this area, go look for Andrea Joy at Brent Allen. Now, if you get any like weirdos or my ex-girlfriends.
I do all kinds of hair.
Or my ex-girlfriends that are stalking me.
I'll do all their hair and they will walk out looking fabulous.
All right.
No matter what.
All right.
Now, all their hair?
All their hair.
Carpet matching the drapes?
All the hair.
Sweet.
I'm not biased.
All right. You're not what did you say?
Wow.
You're not bisexual? No. If you like the content of Living Podcariously, be sure to go check out the Twisted 10. That's mine and Tach's other podcast. We have a blast recording that.
Right.
And it's your general top 10 type of list, but it's with a spin. Me and Tach create the top 10 lists. They're original. Granted, we go and research other top 10 lists or research, subjects that we're interested in, but we come up with the top 10. So it's our own top 10. Usually they have a twist. Give you an example. I did one for Tach on top 10 conspiracy theories, and the twist in that show was that 2 of those conspiracy theories turned out later to be true.
Right.
So that was a twist in that episode. So be sure to go check that out. Twisted 10. Give us a rate, review, subscribe, the whole 9 yards, and obviously for Living Podcariously too. Check out facebook.com/livingpodcariously or facebook.com/thetwisted10. Check out Andrea up at Brent Allen Salon in Cocoa. Obviously, check out our boy Tach on Taint Funny. The next couple of episodes, I'm guest hosting on. So,
indeed,
if you're interested in some media, movie, comics type of podcast, check them out.
Indeed.
Anything else? We missing anything?
I need ladies interested in dating this guy. No.
Tach is single and ready to mingle. Oh, yeah.
That's what Colombia's for.
Yeah, that's right. We gotta send you
out to go to Colombia.
Hi, Poppy. That's right. Thanks for listening tonight, guys. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
See ya.
Goodbye, guys. Goodbye, ladies.
Hey guys, this is Tach from Living Podcariously. You can also check out other content I have. I also co-host a podcast called Taint Funny on iTunes and Stitcher. It's me and 3 of my buddies. We talk about movies, television, video games, comic books, you name it. It's a comedy podcast called Taint Funny, and you can check us out at taintfunnypodcast.com.
Well, I could be here on holiday from England.
God.
So what have you been up to, Tach? What's been going on in Tach's life lately?
Just working.
Yeah. Do your coworkers listen to this podcast?
I try to get them to this. Wait,
Living Podcariously, yeah.
Wait, which one are we? No, I know that, but I'm trying to think. I tell them to. I don't know if they are or not.
So if we said you're looking for some more employment in this area, that wouldn't be that good of a thing to air for them to hear.
It's fine. I mean, most of them know that.
Okay.
I just applied for another position out at
where you work
Cape.
now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully, I'm actually cookie cut for that position, so looks good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for you. Andrea has a pretty cool job. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about it, where you work, or pimp out where.
Sure.
Do you?
Yeah,
Do
I
you?
have the best job in the entire world. My job is a slumber party. I work at Brent Allen Salon and Day Spa in Cocoa. I do hair and nails and facials, everything except massage, because that's a whole other license.
Tach, I do facials too.
But color, haircuts, everything. My favorites, updos, and.
She sent me a text one day.
I'm totally overdue for a haircut. Just saying.
Go see her.
I should bring it all in here and just do haircuts on air, right?
On the podcast. Hey, I'm game for that. Naked though. She sent me a text one day from work where she was staying a little late, hanging out with some of the girls in studio, and one of the guys that they have there he does like the crazy colors in the hair, like the really bizarre I don't know what you guys call the slang term. Jeremy said something about them the other day, like the psycho colors or wild color, vivid colors or something. He used some word to describe the colors that made sense. Well, she sent me a text the other day from work saying, I'm almost done. All I'm doing is giving Jeremy a blowjob, then I'll be right there.
A Brazilian
blowjob. Well, it was it was Brazilian blowout.
Right.
That's a style of hair.
Yeah. Right.
Smoothing treatment.
Is it wrong? I got a little aroused when she said that.
Smoothing treatment for a Brazilian blowout.
But it came through as blowjob. Her phone auto-corrected her to blowjob. So.
I guess I used that word too much.
A little, yeah. Never too much, though. Ever.
Never, ever.
No. Well, I hope everything works out there for you. Hope you get that.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Tach, have you ever worked outside the U.S.? I know you were in the military. Have you ever, been for a long deployment or anything that's been permanent outside continental U.S., even Hawaii?
Permanent?
Yeah. Maybe more than 6 months, let's say?
No. Well, see, when I was in the Navy, I was in submarines, and I was on more specifically Trident submarines, and we don't really go anywhere. So all we did was go out to a patrol area, circle around for about 70 to 90 days, roughly, and then come back. And that was about it.
That's what one of Andrea's friends just got back from doing. He just was in the process of retiring, and he just came back off of his last deployment doing exactly.
You're listening to Living Podcariously, bringing you real men's perspectives, unfiltered, unapologetic, and uncensored. Recorded live in the Living Podcariously studio in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Welcome to Living Podcariously. This is episode, what are we on, Tach? 7?
Sounds right.
I think this is 7. Welcome to episode 7. Like always, my name is Adam. Thank you for listening. And sitting on the couch over to my left is my boy Tach.
What's up? I am Tach.
And we have a very special last-minute drop-by studio guest in studio with us this week. This is Miss Andrea Joy.
Hello there.
How are you?
I am fabulous.
For the listeners, that's my girlfriend. Yes.
Best girl to be.
She's heard me talk about her all these times, so I'm afraid of what she's going to bring up on air this week, Tach.
Hey, I'm your number one fan.
That's true. However, I had to do her 5-star review and rating today for her. She wouldn't do it. I had to go in and do it for her.
That's because mine was too dirty.
iTunes kept kicking hers back.
Yeah, and she also did some voiceover work for us, did she
sure
not?
did. Yeah, so if you like Living Podcariously, if you enjoy the content of this show, if you enjoy listening to me and Tach, I know there's at least one of you out there somewhere, listen to The Twisted 10. It launched, it's live out on iTunes, Stitcher, all those other podcast apps now. The Twisted 10 is a unique, it's another project that Tach and I work on together. It's a unique host-created top 10 list, and Andrea did our intro music for that, or our intro voiceover for that, and it sounded fantastic.
It did. I enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I tried telling her that Fiverr, where you can go and purchase, voiceovers for $5, we went on there and listened to some of the other female voiceovers that are on that website, and they're, for the female adult or middle-aged or whatever their category is, they're not that many. There's only a couple of them, and they're horrible. They're these horrible women. There's a ton of kids and there's a ton of elderly women, but there's no good, sexy sounding middle-aged women. I know that sounds weird because you think sexy voiceover.
Well, yeah,
for women.
I got one for Taint Funny. I did one for myself, and I got this Australian chick to do one.
I did for the intro for Living Podcariously. That guy I hired off of Fiverr as well. But that was months and months ago. I haven't hit him back up yet. But I told her, I said she should do some voiceover on there, make a little bit of money.
Right.
Works for me. I can be whatever kind of voice you want me to be.
Oh, well, I know you can.
You like what?
Well, where do you want me to be from? I could be from the South and be your Southern...
The desert. I did Afghanistan for 3 months, and I did Iraq for 2 years. I wanted to see if you had any travel experience to go down to South America. So you're a single guy, Tach. You're very obviously American looking. You're predominantly, you could potentially be, Irish or Scottish or something as well because of the hair color. but as soon as you open your mouth and start talking, it's very evident that you're an American. There's no question.
Right.
Like, I just want to tell you, there is a place in this world where you can go out with the way you look, which is stereotypical American, the way you sound, again, stereotypical American.
Right.
And you will have to beat the girls off. And I'm talking nonstop 10s, 9s and 10s all night long.
I have to beat them off?
Yeah.
Me too? Would that work for me too?
No, they would be super intimidated by you.
Aww.
Yeah.
I don't get what you're saying.
So
where is this land you speak of?
Bogota, Colombia. I spent a full year down there. It was, look, I had a good time. I didn't go down there like most Americans go down there to go after pussy. That wasn't my intention. I went down there for an experience, for a career, a career move.
Right.
To grow in fact, at the time I was married to Scarlett, and I brought her with me down to Colombia. So we lived together in Colombia. So I go to work first couple of days, and the guys down there are, learning who I am, a little bit about me, and they find out that I had brought my, wife at the time, or girlfriend at the time, with me to Colombia. And all of them didn't understand this. This did not compute to them. It wasn't a language barrier. It was a moral barrier. They didn't understand why a American, stereotypical American, brought a woman to Colombia with him. It's like bringing sand to the beach. Because all the other Americans down there that worked on this contract would go to Colombia, even if they had wives and families at home, just to have that fun time while they were down there.
Right.
To have their girlfriends on the side, to do all that stuff down there, so they couldn't understand why my motivation was different than all these other Americans. So my point is, Tach, it's only about $300 for a round trip ticket to Bogota out of Miami.
Okay.
So and I've got lots of friends down there. So I'm thinking about sending you on a field trip.
You gonna send me on a trip?
He can't go if he says he's going to Colombia. I know better.
Well, I already told you I was supposed to go see my buddy in Medellin.
Not anymore. Not without me.
Well, you could go with me. They would be super intimidated by you. You're very obviously not Colombian. You have fair skin, red hair. Yeah, no, you would stand out like a sore thumb. Americans, though, are always
kind of like the Philippines too. The Philippines also, from what I hear, Americans are just
I can't tell you that. I don't know. I've never been to the Philippines before, but is it the same way?
That's what I hear. I don't know. There's a lot of like the joke about because you have submarines and then you also have surface navy, which is two totally different navies.
Is surface navy also called Air Force?
No.
Oh.
It's just like those that are on the surface, like on boats and aircraft carrier, not boats, but ships, aircraft carriers, destroyers, things like that, which is a totally different navy than submarines, And we always the joke is,
exactly that.
Less patrol.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember what he said he did. Was it communications?
I don't know. I just heard a lot about the guys.
Yeah, I asked him. But
they all shave their heads together, and I don't know. I get the girl info. I don't get what they actually do.
I used to, a lot of guys shave their head and stuff. Like I used to cut hair out at sea. It wasn't like a real job. It was just few of us that actually cut hair. Like that's what we used to do. So I'm familiar.
But what happens on the submarine stays on the submarine. You don't talk about that.
Yeah. No, it's not that bad. It's basically like, I think I've said this before. It's basically like a floating frat house out there with all guys. Yep. Now they have women on board, so.
Oh.
Really?
Don't tell my friend that.
Have you ever gone and stayed maybe on vacation or something outside the U.S.? Like
Well, yeah, growing up, I lived in Spain for a year. I lived in Greece. Actually, fun fact, my mom was military. She retired from Air Force, and so growing up, I lived all over the world. And but when I was a few months old, we moved to Greece, and we were there for 4 years. And then so my first language was actually Greek. And then as much as a 4-year-old can speak anyway. And then once we moved back to the States, then I learned English, and I don't remember any Greek now. Well, I do remember a couple of things, which is odd. Like I remember ohi, which is no.
Ohi?
Yeah. Helado, come here. Apparently I heard these things a lot. So, and carpuzzi, which is watermelon. I don't know.
Carpuzzi?
That's all you need to know.
That sounds like a drive-by from an Italian mafia. Hey, this is a carpuzzi.
Carpuzzi.
Carpuzzi. Oh, I like that better.
I just grew up in Oklahoma, so all I had to hear was suey, so the cows would come in.
But we also pulled in, when I was in the Navy, went to Puerto Rico a bunch of times. Well, twice. Pulled in here a few times.
Port Canaveral?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
did you stay in because I'm leaning towards the question a little bit because of something. Did you Did you stay in Puerto Rico for any extended amount of time, or was it just like
a few days or whatever, like 5 or 6 days?
So no time, no shore leave, or
no.
Oh.
And I did go to Scotland once when I was in the Navy.
Yeah,
but that was,
Scotland.
But that was rare. Like we don't normally do. So that was like a rare special ops thing.
What do we have here?
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty bad. I'm not a voice guy, I'm just saying. Ron would reach through the mic and strangle me right now through his headphones.
He is right now. He's like laughing at you.
Yep.
And he's also probably doing the accent now.
Yeah. He's like, this is what you should have done, fucker. Yeah, trust me.
It's awful.
So, what are you getting at, Adam?
Well, no, the reason I ask is I was never enlisted, but I did military contracting. I've talked about that a few times, and I had several trips to Central and South America, more really South America. And then, of course, the shitty part of the world.
But all these, like, surface Navy guys all have, like, Filipino wives. Like, a lot of them do.
Really?
It's pretty funny. Just because they go over to the Philippines and they meet some chick, who wants to get out of the Philippines.
Is that like Army in Thailand? Like Thai wives?
Probably,
okay.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of funny. But submarine guys, we don't. Well, we didn't.
You didn't?
Because we didn't go anywhere.
You just had boyfriends in the sub.
Boyfriends in the sub.
Don't talk about what happens on the sub.
Yeah, got it. Understood. No, I wanted to, I was open to the idea. So I do have a bunch of friends that live down there. And before I met Andrea, I was scheduled to go down in March. Down to Medellin to go visit my buddy and hang out for a week. That was the plan. I mean,
so you want to send me to Colombia
for a field trip? What do you think?
For a field trip to come back with a wife?
Living Podcariously may be able to fund this.
He's pimping you out. He's getting money for this.
Oh, you're getting money for this?
Maybe we can have a sponsor tax trip. Do you have is your passport good?
No, I'd have to get a new passport.
So that's another $150. All right, so we gotta cover the trip for the airline. You already have a place to stay. There's several bordellos whorehouses down there. So we got to cover your airfare and your passport. But I figure we send you down for a week. You would come back dressed like Hugh Hefner in a robe with like 3 wives in tow, plus a maid, a quote unquote maid that you can pull back to the States with you. I already know how that's going to work.
You already got it all planned out for me?
What was going to be my trip could be yours. I mean, I'm just
He's
just
gonna
saying.
live through you.
The whole idea behind the show is living podcariously. So
he's gonna live podcariously through you.
I want your experiences. You go down there and you come. Of course, I'll make you. I'll put plastic on that couch before you sit back down on it again, because I'm sure you're going to catch something.
Oh my god! See, I can't just go down there by myself.
Why not?
What do you mean? I'm going to walking around? Where do I go?
I'd have my boy hook you up. I mean, I'll go down there with you.
No,
you're not allowed to.
No.
You're putting your foot down.
No,
we're not
you
married
already
yet.
told me what happens when you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for that reason though. I would go for the reason to get Tach laid. I wouldn't go for the reason to get Adam laid.
It
Adam
wouldn't be your fault. It wouldn't be your fault. It would just happen. Apparently,
Adam gets laid enough here. I don't need to go down there.
It just happens when you go to Colombia. It wouldn't be your fault.
The funniest thing, Tach, they have a place called Bogota Beer Company, which is a brewery down there. So just like any microbrewery here, but it's like a larger international brewery down there. You can see the Americans a mile away walking down the street. You'll see a 50-year-old dude with literally 2 like 20-year-old girls that are just drop dead gorgeous, one on each arm. And it's awesome for the guy because he's getting, some beautiful model looking girls down there. But it's really an interesting thing to see. It's a social experiment. These girls are all of a sudden, when they're seen with an American guy, no matter how old he is, how good he looks, no matter how fat he is, doesn't matter anything. So you're in. That's a status symbol for this girl to be walking down the street and be seen with this American on her arm.